And we are here today on this very special episode of the Goddess Got Goals podcast with Jill Keith, as we talk about losing 101 pounds. I'm really excited for this conversation. Not only do I get to just chat with my girl, really, is what it feels like half the time, but also to share this amazing story because you know what? It just makes me feel really good that I am the catalyst, which is what I always say I am, the catalyst in this transformation. You know, Jill has done the hard work. I have just been there to provide the information and the support and the kick in the butt when's needed. But I'm here to chat with her today, and I can't wait to hear all about it. So I'm going to do a quick introduction. For those who don't know, so Jill Keith is lives in Colorado with her partner. She has a teenage son who has the exact same birthday as my teenage son. We just remembered this earlier when we were getting this ready. She works from home doing financial systems and all of that amazing kind of geeky, nerdy spreadsheet stuff, which actually has served her very well inside of our program, which she's going to share with us today. She's also a recently qualified pistol instructor and plays the cello and has cats and loves cats. And you might even see the cat who often likes to just jump around you when you're talking.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Yes.
Love that. And then she joined the Sexy Strong program 5 years ago in one of our first intakes during that time of COVID when everything was done online. And she's going to share her journey with that because there, you know, as with everything, the journey is both up, downs, peaks, troughs. One of the peaks was she was our most successful unicorn to date. So if you don't know what that is in our community, our 6-week transformation unicorn challenge, which indeed is a challenge, we guarantee that if you follow the program, you can lose 16 pounds or 6% body fat. Jill went on to lose 19.2 pounds in successful unicorn, specifically also had a hip injury or recovering from a hip injury. So what that says is that this program can be done whatever you've got going on in your life. And we're going to share about that too. And on the back of that amazing transformation and just journey that she went through, I invited her to become our community coach in the Sexy Strong program so she can also lead the way with others and other members and is there to help and support them as well. But I wanted to talk because she shared with me literally only a couple of weeks ago her lovely spreadsheet and stats, and she was like, oh, here, just by the way, just dropping it into conversation, I have lost 101 pounds. And I'm like, this is friggin' amazing. I want to talk about this in depth. So she is back on the podcast for a second time, actually. Also one of our only Sexy Strong members and community members in Unicorns to do that. So that's also another achievement. You can add that to your notches on your belt. But I really am excited to hear all about that. So let's start at the beginning, because that is indeed a very good place to start. And I want to know, like, before you even saw the ads for the masterclass of Warrior Goddess Kettlebell training and our 4-step formula that we share on there, what had you been doing and what was working or what wasn't working and what were the challenges you were facing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm one of those people who had tried pretty much everything through many years of trying to lose weight. I've done the Weight Watchers thing. I had done working with doctors and weight or dietitians and drugs, prescription drugs. And just wasn't getting results. It just, I wasn't finding anything that ever properly resulted in anything that really produced anything meaningful by any stretch of the imagination. And I mean, of course, obviously, starting from where I started at 316 pounds, yeah, of course, weight loss is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
But when I did stumble into the kettlebell ads, it also being a not just weight loss, but a transformation program really spoke to me at the time. Because while everybody, focuses on weight loss and says, oh, well, you have to eat less and move more and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I can only eat so much less.
Right.
At some point, I have to start eating.
Right. And also, it just feels like a flippant throwaway thing to say. Like, eat less, move more. Like, it's that easy. Like, let's just make that,
That's simple.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's an easy thing to do. And it's like, you can only do that so much. And I mean, honestly, when I stumbled into this, I probably was only eating maybe 1,200 calories a day because I was eating less.
Right.
And I mean,
yeah,
I wasn't feeling good because you're tired, you're exhausted, and I mean, honestly, at that point, I'd probably gone through basically the perfect storm of, I moved halfway across the country. I moved from Indianapolis to Colorado. I left my son behind. I moved in with my partner who I'd never lived with before. I changed jobs.
That's the trifecta.
It all happened. Yeah, I mean, that's basically the trifecta of, hey, let's just completely flip the life.
Yeah. Right. And then you're like, you know what else I really need? I need a full body and lifestyle transformation program.
Exactly. Let's just, make everything that much more difficult at the same time.
Yeah. But you know what? There's something in that I think that, when you're in that, because that's transformational energy anyway, deciding you're going to have a different life, deciding, enough is enough about certain things, or, you know what, I need more, I need different, I need to back me, I need to prioritize me, or whatever the momentum or the motivation is saying. There's a lot of stuff in that. And this is often why when I hear people say, I'm not ready, I'm waiting for all my ducks to be in a row, or I'm waiting for things to calm down a little bit. No such thing.
It'll never happen.
Right. Or I'm, a lot going on in my personal life right now. I always just ask things like, well, when is it not? Right.
Right.
I don't have ducks in a row. I have squirrels in a rave, is what I say. Like, the life is always crazy. The kids are kidding and doing their stuff. The boss is driving you crazy, or maybe you hate your job, or who knows what's going on there. Relationships are up and down. They're close. They're having problems. They're all of these different things. Health concerns always impact all of that too. So if you were to wait until whatever, what part of that is going to settle down, it's never going to settle down. And I find that actually sometimes that is the best time.
One thing settles down, that's the time something else kicks up. So you're never going to, there's never going to be the perfect time to start. You just have to say, this is my time to start. Yeah.
So let's talk about the starting then, because that is the thing. So when you first, because we get a lot of feedback of people when they first join our Sexy Strong program, because it's different, right? Mm-hmm. We have created an online transformational program, which is what you've said. So it has, actual lessons. It has step-by-step guides, in addition to here's the training that you're going to do and here's the eating that you're going to do. So quite often, if people are just used to going down to a little boot camp close to them, or they've done an online Beachbody or some sort of program, it can seem a little bit like, what is this? So what was your first reaction when you first kind of saw it? Were you pleasantly surprised by its comprehensiveness, or were you like, oh my goodness, this is a lot, or somewhere in between?
I was probably somewhere in between, because I mean, not gonna, well, I mean, obviously with flipping the script on myself that year, it was a little bit of a, oh my God, what did I get myself into yet again? But it was also, I appreciate the why behind the what. Because without the why, you don't know why you're doing the what.
Yes, yes. That is my whole premise of life that you've just summed up right there. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But I mean, both of us are questioners, right? If they don't know anything about different motivational, well, you're a questioner with a little bit of possibly, no, I think you were more questioner, actually. I think you probably turned more into that as past, but there's different motivational tendencies. Yeah, there's different motivational tendencies, and in terms of how you can you do motivation, right? How you kind of respond to expectations. And a lot of what I do, because that's my nature, is like I like to explain to you the why, right? And that's why when people join my program, I like the people who want to know well, why am I doing this workout, or why am I eating in this way? Because there's a lot of empowerment with that, because then I'm not just teaching you what to do, because that's great and all, like do this, do that, get the results, but I'm trying to give you the tools, give you the education, giving you the sense of building that sense of self-trust and self-confidence that you can then go and do it for yourself.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's part of being a lifelong learner too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously, just in the last 2 years, I've started picking up the cello, and I'd never picked up a stringed instrument before in my life. It was just something that suddenly spoke to me and said, hey, let's do this, because, I don't have enough going on in my life. And
it sounds like me with learning Spanish. Yes, I've done 1 year of learning Spanish because I don't have enough things to do and give myself
right.
But that's my nature. Yeah.
And then as I've spoken with certain people at work and shared that I had started doing like some certain firearm competitions and stuff, somebody had said, oh, hey, would you want to potentially work with some of the youth groups in one of the local counties? And I went, well, if I'm going to be working with youth groups, I need to actually be able to teach properly. And that was what the catalyst was to becoming a pistol instructor, because I didn't want to just say, oh, well, because I know how to compete, I know how to teach. That doesn't resonate with me.
Right. But also, I think that's a very big statement for all coaches or all facilitators or teachers, is that, there's that stigma that those who can, do and those that can't teach, or something like that. But I also think when it comes to like coaches, it's a little bit like, well, yes, I think it's important that you have the results, or you have like your experience of participating and being in those competitions and winning them, or being part of that. But
sure.
But that doesn't automatically make you able to do that. You need to learn the coaching skills. You need to have experience with teaching and coaching. And I think that, that's one of the things that people tend to miss out on when you think, okay, well, just because this person is and I'm thinking of myself, a fitness coach or a personal trainer or a wellness coach. Yes, I have done my program. I do my program consistently, but I also coach, and I don't necessarily have to have the results at every single time to be able to help somebody else to do that, because I have coaching qualifications. Like I have studied how to, as you say, teach people and instruct people. So that's a really big, I think, distinction for people to see as well. So
absolutely.
So my question then is, so you started out the program, you started to think, okay, I'm going to do this now. This is what I'm going to commit to. And when you first started that program, what was that like at the beginning? I do remember it, actually. The thing I do remember specifically with you was that on the nutritional side of things. I think with the kettlebell stuff, you kind of just got on with it. A lot of people tend to do that, and have you noticed in our community, the
Oh yeah,
kettlebell
yeah.
stuff is never the hard stuff. Like, yes, we can teach them the form, and we've got really good instructional videos and all of that. But sometimes it's to do with the eating, and some of the meals in my meal plans are, for some slightly experimental or different ways of thinking of it. And I do remember you going, I don't know if we're going to eat this, but then because you got your partner to eat with you alongside, which I like that.
Yeah, because there
And
was
he
no
was
way I
like
was
surprised. Yeah,
feeding. I mean, there's only two of us in the house. I'm not making more than one meal.
right.
So he just had to suck it up and eat with me for dinner. And whether he liked it or not, that was what he was eating.
But then at the end of it, you were like, we're both actually, quietly and happily surprised that this is actually tasty. And some of it we're like, yes, not
Yes.
sure. And then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of it wasn't quite so, palatable as we were hoping, but I mean, we tried, and
Yeah.
that's the important part, is
Yeah.
that you actually try the recipes. And I mean, like anything, you're going to find something that you don't like as much, and you're going to find something that you absolutely love.
Yes.
And
And
I'm not going to lie, I think the cabbage apple slaw
yeah,
with
that
the
was
feta
amazing.
cheese is absolutely one of our favorite side dishes that
Oh,
we throw
yeah.
in with pretty much everything.
Lovely. And I
And
know you
I
like
mean,
the bacon and the Brussels sprouts is one of your
yes, the
favorites.
bacon and the Brussels sprouts is fantastic.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I did have somebody go through the challenge who'd never had miso soup before. And the miso soup that we suggest, again, all of this is meal plan suggestions. There are swaps, there's things that people can
Oh,
try.
sure.
And the miso soup that we suggested you can get in freeze-dried packages. I mean, at that time I was eating a lot of miso soup myself, but she was like, I've never eaten a soup that fizzes before. Or it was moving a little bit maybe. And I remember thinking, oh, okay. And she was like, that's just too weird for me. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like it is what it is. It is what it is.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So, and I think that your first initial 6-week challenge was very successful.
Yeah, I think I was
And
very close to being a unicorn with that first one.
the first
I
one, well,
think
I
I
think we had a
just
lot of
barely missed
unicorns.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And also we had a lot
I
that
think we
first
had
round,
at
4.
least 2 unicorns that time, and I was close.
Yeah, there was 4, I think.
Were there 4?
Annabelle, Katerina. No, there was 3. There was 3. It was
3.
Annabelle, Katerina, and somebody else. But yeah,
It wasn't Beth, but it was, I can't, the one who lives in Florida. I can't remember her name now all of a sudden.
Renee. Yeah, I don't think she was
Yes,
a unicorn
Renee,
either.
with her.
Yeah, she was close too. But no,
Was she
definitely no, it
close
was
as well?
Annabelle and
Okay.
Katrina. Oh, and Michelle. That's it. It was those 3.
And Michelle. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So again, 3. It was just a
It
very
was a
successful
strong group.
intake. That was
It
a
was a
strong
strong
group.
group.
Yeah. So then let's talk about the ups and downs, as with everything. So
Oh, sure.
so in the initial, so you've been with the program for 5 years. In that first initial 3 months of starting, what sort of success did you have? Can you remember from your spreadsheet? I know you'd lost at least 20 pounds.
Oh, yeah. I'd lost a fair amount of weight. I'd lost probably at least 20 to 30 pounds. I'd lost a fair amount of centimeters around my body at the time.
I think you had bought yourself the heavier bells. I know you were definitely doing things
Yep.
with 25 pounds upwards, 30 pounds.
I was swinging a 35 pound, and I think I was doing upper body with starting to get into the 20 pound with the upper body
as well.
So yeah, I was definitely progressing with the weights
very strong,
and making sure that I was continuing to move forward. And then all of a sudden in August of 2020, I managed to contract COVID because, life happens.
Yeah, it did.
And
so there was the time in our community where of the people who were active, about half of them had COVID. And and then even myself, I got COVID. So it is something specifically in a wellness program that can be a very big challenge, because
Yes.
it's trying to stay consistent, but yet you're ill and you need to recover. And
Yep.
also, but that was when we came up with the comeback plan. Actually, I remember it very clearly.
Yes.
So, and I was thinking, well, how did I come back? And because it was very, very easy does it, because obviously COVID being a more cardio, breath, lungs one, it did
Right.
affect, I was tired very easily. I couldn't do
Hmm.
very much. I think one of the things I said to you was just go for a walk around the block. I mean, literally
Yeah.
just walk, just to get your body moving to start with. And then, again, what we always say, short workouts, like 4-minute workouts,
Yes.
10-minute workouts, stick to those. And
Yeah.
then that's where you can then build up
Yeah.
and build back
Because
up.
I've got asthma issues, so COVID hit me hard, really hard, and
Yeah.
it took me a long time to come back from that. And then I was making progress again, and had finally moved up to the point where I was actually up to swinging a 50-pound kettlebell. And then the injury happened with the
Yes.
hip, and
So
I tore
when
my
was
gluteus minimus.
yeah.
And that was November of 22. And that was bad. That was really bad. I honestly thought at the time that I'd done something to my quad, because that was
Oh,
where I was feeling my pain. I
right.
thought that I'd injured my right quadricep. And when I went to the doctor, I'm like, so can we see what's going on here? Because something's not right. It's been sore painful for like a month now, and it shouldn't be sore from a workout for a month.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that we took the right set of scans
Oh,
that
and
it showed the tear in the hip.
okay. And for those that
And
don't
yeah,
know, like when you tear medial, so you've got three main glute muscles. So if you think of your butt, people, yeah, I know we're talking about butts, is the maximus is the big juicier parts. Then you've
yep,
got the medius, which is the wee bit round there. You've also got the piriformis, which kind of goes a little bit more there. Yeah. So piriformis tears are tricky, but also so are the mediuses. So the medius,
yeah,
you'll feel that every time you get off, sit down or stand up. Yeah. Did
yes,
you feel it when you actually
100%.
stayed seated, or it was only in the movement between sitting and standing?
It's very much in the movement, but then it's also, especially if you're a side sleeper, you're
Okay.
going to wake yourself up all night long because you're balancing. And
Right.
every time you try to turn over, you're going to get that pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And because
Yeah.
I mean, how do you rest a hip? You don't. You can't. You use your hip all day long.
You use your hips all day long, standing, sitting,
Standing,
going from standing
sitting,
to sitting, going upstairs,
balancing,
balancing one leg
anything.
versus another
Yes,
leg. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Yep. If
It
you
was a long
really think
recovery.
about it, there's nothing that you don't do
Yeah. That doesn't involve.
something using
Yeah.
that doesn't involve your hip. And you
So
don't
then
really realize that
you
until
don't
you actually
realize it
hurt
until
one.
it doesn't work. Yes, yes, yes. It's the same also with like a wrist, and you're like, oh, I can't use this hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that recovery, then you decided, I think, after a while that you had recovered enough to be like, well, I need to start doing something, or
Yep.
maybe focusing on an anti-inflammatory approach, which is what all of our meal plans are as
Yes.
well. And
Exactly. Yep.
also, I think for you, you were like, well, so if I lose more weight, I'll put less in that area as well. So it's a win-win
Yes.
situation with that. So you
Right.
redid the 6-week transformation unicorn challenge with us when we run those normally about once a year or so.
Yep.
And
that was about a year after the injury, and I still wasn't 100%. It took about a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I think it was literally the summer after that challenge that I'd suddenly done, I think, a squat in my kitchen. Like I'd gone down to get something in a cabinet, and I stood back up and I suddenly went, oh my God,
That
that
didn't
didn't
hurt.
hurt.
Yeah.
What the heck?
The body it's a very wonderful thing to try to work that out. Oh goodness. So I'm glad. Well, yes, I think, as you say, very, very patient. You followed your anti-inflammatory diet. You lost, as I said, 19.2 pounds during that challenge. You did,
Yep.
there was a lot of modifications you weren't able
A
to do.
lot of modifications. We
Yeah,
talked a lot about what I could or couldn't do in terms of
yeah,
exercises during that time, what made sense in terms of swapping for exercises so that I could still exercise but not hurt myself
not hurt
further
yourself.
in the process.
Yeah. And we got there. As I said, it's always about the modifications and getting that
Yes.
extra help and support. And then, yeah, and then since then, so I would love to know, like in the last little while, when did you realize that, oh my goodness, this has actually been 101 pounds? When did you literally have, because there's always a time where you maybe check yourself out in the mirror and you go, ah, or you go, oh, that was easier than it should, it normally is, or I'm moving a little better, or something that suddenly makes you go, I'm going to do another set of, because, we do progress photos regularly in our community, but sometimes you're like, I'm just going to whip out my little tracker here and see what the crap is.
Yeah.
And then you're like, damn. So tell me about that.
Well, usually I try to remind myself once a month to do tracker or something, whether it's take measurements or photos or a combination of both. Just so that I can remind myself that yes, you are still making progress, whether you really know it or not. Because there's so many times that you're just moving right along and you're like, whatever, it's probably all the same. And it's really not.
And it's really not. And there's a thing that also happens with that of like, you're just like, oh, I don't feel like I've lost anything, or I don't feel like this is working, or there's that, like, this feeling, and feeling is like ethereal. It's not real. It's not tangible. It's not
Exactly
scientific. And that's where I think we get, I feel, fatter than I normally feel. Like, this is what women say. This is what we say to ourselves. And I'm like, hold on. Well, actually, can you tell me, like, where is that? Or what do you, what is happening? Have you tracked it? So yes, get the data, people.
And I think it was this, I think it was just after New Year's this year that I'd significantly noticed that it felt like I was struggling to keep my jeans on.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And I'm like, and I've used a belt for a while, especially because, I mean, obviously with doing the pistol stuff, I sometimes carry on my person. And so I regularly have a belt on my pants. And I suddenly went, I need to adjust this belt. This belt is actually too big. Like, I don't have enough. It was a ratcheting belt, so it's not like I had specific loops, but I was running out of ratchet space.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I actually need to cut this belt to give myself the space again. And I'm like, well, this is weird. So I'm like, okay, let's do a proper, tracking again and see where we're sitting at. And I'm like, oh, well, look at these measurements. This is different.
So let's recap those measurements. So when you sent them to me, so let's talk like dress sizes as well, or let's like paint the picture. So when you started, you said you were 300 and...
I was 316 pounds when I first started.
Okay.
I was probably in US sizes, I was a 22 women's, probably bordering on a 24.
Okay.
So officially plus size.
Yeah.
there was definitely no shopping in a normal women's section at the time. And when I made these notices early this year, I went, okay, this is different. And at that point, I had already dropped to, I believe it was an 18 women's. So we're still in plus sizes, but I had already dropped at least from a 22 to an 18. That's, a good 4-ish sizes. And so I'm like, you know what? Let's try a normal women's size. Let's try a normal size 16, which I hadn't been in a normal women's size pants since 1999. So probably 26 years at this point.
Wow. Okay. So that's an achievement. That is a considerable milestone. You're like, the fact that you had to really think at how far back in the 90s that was. So
it was shortly after college that my thyroid decided, we're not gonna continue pumping out hormone for you. And then it took me, I gained 100 pounds. And I had to go to 3 different doctors for somebody to even test it.
Wow. Okay.
Because everybody kept going, oh, well, it's just because you're sitting behind a desk all day. And I'm like, but I sat behind a desk all day in college and I didn't gain 100 pounds. There has to be something wrong.
Right. And they don't.
And and they didn't listen.
Yeah. So that's 25 years ago, and now you're there. So so in terms of the actual stats, so you're down 101 pounds. What was the total centimeters or inches, or what did you do? It was centimeters.
Total centimeters around my body is almost 280. It was 278.5 centimeters.
Wow. Yeah. And then
it was a little over 20% body fat.
Wow.
It was almost 21%.
Which is just amazing. Like, if you think about it,
which is crazy.
Yeah, because there's a difference between weight loss on its own and a difference between weight loss with body shape change. So, you've admitted that as you came into the program, weight loss was important. Some people, when we come into the program, weight loss is important, right? Certain times in our lives, weight loss is important, certain seasons, etc. And also how much weight you gain. It's an indicator, right? It's an indicator. But with the goal being body shape change, the measuring of the percentage body fat, really important. So how much of your body is now fat versus muscle ratio, which is then also supported by the amount of centimeters that you have actually lost all over the body.
Right.
So, and over the places that you want to lose them, right? Also, without then also ending up with a lot of excess skin or excess, because you're also, as you're losing, you're also building the muscle and building the strength in there, so that what can happen with dramatic weight loss, which we've seen in a couple of people come into our community, it's the excess skin, it's the struggling to be within a body that hasn't built the fitness or the strength or the capacity, and it can actually be quite dangerous to drop that much weight, because you also do lose a lot of muscle mass when you do it that way.
Right. Exactly.
And being nearly 50 for both of us, muscle mass is like the most important thing that I think about muscle a lot. I really do. Muscle is medicine. I think about it all day, every day, going, trying to build the muscle. because I know that muscle is, like, the amount of studies and the amount of stuff that I listen to and research, like, muscle is medicine. So yes, we want to look good, ladies. I'm never taking that away from anyone. I want to look sexy, strong. I want to look like a goddamn warrior goddess. There is nothing wrong with that. But it's about understanding the difference between weight loss and body shape change, and focusing on keeping a hold of that, because it's that muscle that is also going to support you when you do have issues with our hips, because these things happen, right? Whether it's like, I have another warrior goddess with a bad shoulder, this is what perimenopause does to women, unfortunately. As we go into that, injuries are more likely. So we just have to navigate that, whether it be through a dodgy wrist, which I'm having issues, can't put much weight on this wrist right now, whether it's from anything that tends to happen from any of those things. So it's just navigating it in a way that it's not about the tortoise and the hare. It's not about who gets there faster. It's about what the goal was, and as you said, the progress over perfection, because it's not the fastest person.
Oh, exactly.
For sure.
From the point that I started this particular tracking spreadsheet, it's been 3 years. Right. It started June of 2022. And yeah, the 101 pounds has been just literally over the past 3 years.
Right. So that wasn't even including
and that wasn't even including the 2 years before that.
Yeah. So I wonder how much. That's another conversation. We'll go back. But that's what I'm saying is, like, I share a lot of the time my 4-year journey. Being a qualified personal trainer helping me, even with, and my journey was maybe, from a different angle of, like, I went from being very little, very skinny, very like teeny tiny in a lot of ways, to like understanding that it's not about trying to get as small as you can possibly be, but about building a strong body, which then has the curves and the balance, but also like it's strong for life, like it's strong for everyday life, getting up and down up the stairs, walking up and down stairs, lifting our shopping in, all of being able to go out.
Even, I mean, when you're as big as I was, I mean, you struggle then too. I mean, things hurt and things, I mean, you want to go out and walk and, do all the things, and you get tired. You get just from lugging that extra weight around.
Right.
And one of the things that I had noticed this year too was from where I was last summer compared to where I started this spring. I have like this silly little, like, long, little over 2 miles square that I'll walk. And just from being able to drop as much weight and make as much change as I've been able to make over that 9-month section from last summer to this spring, I was able to walk that square in, I think it was like 7 minutes faster.
Wow. But also how you felt. So you weren't out of breath. Yeah.
I wasn't out of breath.
Yeah. This is it. Like I think we sometimes, we do two things, especially as women. We overestimate what it is that we're trying to achieve, right? Oh, I need to lose, 30 pounds, whatever, I need to do it. And I need to, and then we underestimate the time that that's going to take. Right.
Yes.
But we then also downplay all the most amazing things that happen along the way, and what it means to set up that habit of like just itself, but then walking without being out of breath, walking faster, being able to do that consistently, being able to clock 10,000 steps a day consistently, and not being like, that's too much, I'm exhausted, I'm burnt out type of thing.
Yes.
So I think
that's why I like the reminders to do the wins on Fridays that aren't necessarily weight loss
I
or
love
whatever related. I mean,
Yeah.
it could be as simple as I went out for a walk and I wasn't gasping for breath at the end.
This is it. Yeah. Or it could be, as you say, I squatted in my kitchen and it didn't hurt.
Yes.
You know, or when you start to notice that things don't click. I think I was sharing this also for our coaches, is like I was the kettlebell superhero school and all I could hear was my shoulder clicking. It was go clickety clickety. And I was thinking the mic is just here and this is my shoulder. Surely they can hear the amount of click. And what's really interesting is, and that was me, you know, during my own transformational journey where I have also dropped some pounds, but also I've just done more workouts where it means I've done more mobility because I do a lot of mobility for every workout I do. And now it doesn't click. It just doesn't click as much as it did. But those days when I was recording, I thought I'm just going to record it anyway. I might not be in the fittest or the strongest or the most lean, you know, body that I've been, but I'm still going to show up and I'm still going to do it. And I'm like, clickety, clickety. It was so funny. It was so funny. And did anybody hear the clicking? I don't know. But yeah, the importance is the showing up, but also celebrating ourselves, like celebrating those wins. And it's a mindset shift for that. So
it absolutely is.
Because, you know, women specifically have such difficulties just celebrating our little successes. People with ADHD, I've been reading up about that recently. Both of us are neurospicy women here too, that we have difficulties acknowledging. Go on to the next thing, that we have difficulty truly seeing ourselves. So sometimes it takes your coach, your buddy, your workout buddy. In my case, sometimes it takes even my son said something to me the other day and going like, why would you say that to yourself? Like, you're totally rocking it. And like, you've been at the gym. Or it takes my boyfriend to go, oh my God, you know, because I was saying like, I've lifted heavier on this and this and this, and this is great. Or going for lunch with Brona and she's like, no, you're doing great. And look at your skin. And like, you just need sometimes somebody outside of you to help you to see that you are winning, that you are making that progress, that you are doing good, because we can so easily just dismiss those little small micro changes or the progress, as you've said, because we're too busy thinking that we should be something else. We should be this. We should be at this point. We should be looking like this. We should. And that's the perfection. So to round it up today, what would be, if you were saying to somebody thinking about, you know, a new transformational journey, going through a transformation, who is thinking either about our Sexy Strong program or just generally wanting to the transformation, what advice would you give them? Like, what would you say? And like, I just want to know, what would you say?
Pick a day and start. And I mean, not even pick a day. Say today is the day you're going to start. And should you have a bad day or a bad meal or a bad week, say, this is the day that I restart. Don't guilt yourself into, well, I had a bad day, so I'm just going to have a bad week, and then I'm going to have a bad month, and then I'm going to have a bad year. And it's just going to compound. Don't guilt yourself into continuing to do what you've done. Start today. And if tomorrow is bad for whatever reason, because life happens, restart tomorrow. And just keep working. Keep doing it, because it's all about progress, not perfection.
For sure. And I think that's really,
a single one of us is perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
And also, how boring is that to be a part of? If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? If they say that about entrepreneurship, they say that about relationships, they say that about your career. And I truly believe with any sort of transformation, specifically to do with body change, you can't buy it, right? You know, they say, oh, but look at, you know, the actresses and actors that can go and do that. Yes, they have the personal trainer that they've paid for. Maybe they even have somebody preparing their food, but they're the ones who still have to move the heavy weights, show up for themselves consistently, eat the food, which in itself is like a chore half the time sometimes.
Yes.
You know, it's they're not spoon feeding them. They're not like, doing the workouts for them. This is something to be very proud of in terms of the transformation, because you did that, right? That was your progress that you made.
Exactly.
No matter if I, helped you or wrote the program or do whatever, I can just be the catalyst or the cheerleader or the friend or the buddy or the accountability partner or the coach to go, keep going, right? You can do this. Maybe offer a bit of advice when it's needed, or offering like that little helping hand of keep it going. But other than that, the success is always down to that, and you can never take that away from somebody. So well done to you. Oh my goodness. I literally, when I saw it that other day, and also I think that's because you told me it when I was having a day where I was like, oh, and it was like, but that's what it is. It's like I'm not perfect. I go through all of this. I show up and do my program so that I can say to you, I'm doing my program and I can walk my own talk. But sometimes it's nice when somebody goes, well, actually, look, it does work.
Right.
Over here, and you're like, yay. And it felt really, really good. So thank you so much for sharing that when you did, and also for coming on today and to share that it is all, I mean, if anything you got from this whole chat with Jill today is progress over perfection all day, every day, but also just start, like how crazy was her life before she decided to do this? Like, you changed everything, and then you're like, I'll just add a whole body shape change transformational program on top of all of that.
Absolutely. Let's just, keep dumping it on. That's all good.
Because there is no, again, perfect time. There is no perfect time. There is no perfect way. I think it just requires you to go, I'm just going to do it. And then as I fall off, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to dust myself off again, get back up, or as we say, get back on the unicorn and get started again, because
every time.
That's it. And there is nothing different. And it's
all you can do. It's all you can do is put yourself first and keep putting yourself first every time that you have the chance to put yourself first.
Yeah, and that's a good one too.
Not necessarily have a chance to put yourself first, but make the choice to put yourself first. Yeah. Because the more you put yourself first, the more you can show up for those in your life.
And that's it, right? That is it. Because you know what? For example, here's an example. Like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been bringing my boy to kettlebell classes, to the gym, to whatever. And now, as an almost 19-year-old, he goes to the gym 3 or 4 times a day without me saying anything. Like a week, sorry, 3 or 4 times a week without me saying anything. His breathing, he doesn't know it's a breathing, but it's a breathing. And like, he just does that, right? And I'm like, oh, you're going to the gym, great. And then I'm like, well, what'd you do today? And that's what I think maybe is our love language when we talk about, like, what'd you do today? What were you doing in the gym? Oh, it was really good. So that's just that they watch, they see you. So if you are,
they do,
if you are you and your partner and you're trying to go do a more healthy wellness kick, or whatever you want to call it. I hate the word health kick, but hey, let's stick with it. It's the two of you together that will also help. Why also bringing your partner on that journey at the beginning was a good idea too. There's nothing like having that person in your corner or that workout buddy, because when you do it, they watch, and that's what putting yourself first does, i.e. you do it, but also you're leading the way for others as well. You don't know who's watching. You don't know what they're going to get from it and how you're going to inspire them. And I'm hoping when they're listening and watching today, they're going to be inspired. So thank you so much for today and coming on.
Thank you for having me again.
Yay. Oh, it's been so wonderful to chat about everything. And I can't wait to drop this into the podcast. And as I said, we've actually filmed it as well. So we'll stick it up on our YouTube channel as well. And if you want to find out more about the exact program that Jill and I together coach people just like us, both of us deep in perimenopause, neurospicy, ADHDers, teenagers, busy jobs, all of these sorts of things, cats, dogs, everything else to look after. And we can make it work too. So you can come on over to warriorgoddesskettlebelltraining.com/sexy strong, find out more about that. And thanks so much again for listening. And I will see Jill in the inside of our community in like a minute. And I hope to hear you on the podcast again soon. Thanks now.